broken.
What were you thinking? That they'd give you anything. You build them up while they tear you down, but still you never give up. You never give up.
They
No.
would soak the fire as you hope to rise. It was mostly lies that you broke inside. I know it's all love, I just gotta complain. I got your back, we gon' rise to the flames. You'll be at it again.
I won't let go. I'll be by your side. Won't let you drown. I won't let go, and nothing can stop me. I'm broken. The same old story. It drives you crazy. They put you first in line and we're never around, but still you never give up. You never give up. No. That's what you do. Step back and throw it all away. There's pain inside. Face it up, throw it all away. I won't let go. I'll be by your side. Won't let you drown. I won't let go, and nothing can stop me.
I'm laughing at all your problems and calling you out your name. They walk all over your carcass and chalk it up to the game. They're ripping your heart apart and just tossing it to the flames. And through all of that pain, you are made.
I'm broken.
Don't let them stress, you will shine forever and never. Catch you slipping, we just sidestep them and sever the ties, the lies, and all of the fears inside. You've always been a friend of mine, so from now to the end of time.
I won't let go. I'll be by your side. Won't let you drown. I won't let go. I'll be by your side. Won't let you drown.
Raw tonight was at the Norfolk Scope, the very same place where many years ago DX drove their Jeep down the ramp, tried to drive their Jeep into the building to invade WCW Monday Night Raw. With an even livelier crowd tonight than the one they had on Saturday at Survivor Series. This crowd was amped up tonight here for this show. And what they got tonight was one of the best first hours of Raw of the entire year. This was a commercial-free first hour of Monday Night Raw. I'm not sure why. I'm not sure. Usually when they do this gimmick, there's a reason for it. I don't know why Raw was commercial-free for the first hour tonight, but you quickly realize when you get that commercial-free first hour, why you don't want to have it every single week. It sounds great in theory and practice. But when you hit the second and third hour, boy, do you pay the price. They make up for all those lost commercials in those last 2 hours. So as nice as it is sometimes, you definitely do not want to have a commercial-free hour every single week. Because holy shit, they load up those last 2 hours with what felt like even more ad breaks than usual. We got stars galore, we got stars galore. You're going to see a show like never before. The mission is the titles and we will win. But we're all... Hey, Justin, what's going on, man? With the $60 super chat, Solomonster doing his Men on a Mission. We're getting the singing started early tonight. Holy shit, Justin. Coming in hot here in the opening moments of the stream. I love it. Justin, I hope you're having a great night. I hope everybody else joining me here in the chat live, as people are filtering in, is going to enjoy this show tonight as much as I enjoyed that first hour. Something else about Run. Justin, thank you. I'm going to be getting to your super chat a little bit. But another thing about the show tonight, a lot of audience participation tonight. We saw it in the Becky Lynch segment, in the opening segment of the show, when she went up into the crowd to talk to Bill or Bob or whoever it was and, interact with the fans. And we saw it later on in the show, too, with Dexter Lumis handing out $100 bills. he was handing out C notes to people in the front row, mostly little kids. So definitely more audience interaction than usual on the show here tonight. I thought the show fell off a lot in the second and third hour until that main event. We had a main event here on this show tonight with Kevin Owens and Jey Uso. Main event Jey Uso. Look at Jey Uso. We haven't seen main event Jey in a while. Main event Jey Uso just headlined 3 straight shows. He was in the main event of SmackDown on Friday night. He was in the main event of Survivor Series on Saturday night, won the entire War Games match for his team. Back in the main event tonight against Kevin Owens. And they had a very good match that I think if you paid attention to what Corey Graves said on commentary towards the beginning of the match, really set the stage, I think, for what the story is going to be now heading into the Royal Rumble. Because there has been a lot of talk and a lot of speculation about where WWE is going to be going now as far as who challenges Roman Reigns at the Royal Rumble, who's going to get the next shot at the WWE Universal Championship. And I think we got a sense of it tonight because you had Corey Graves on commentary talking about how this is Kevin Owens, tonight in this main event, this might be what Kevin Owens has to do. He might have to go through every member of the bloodline. Tonight may have been the start of that. Tonight it was Jey Uso. Next week it might be Jimmy. It could be Sami Zayn at some point. Solo Sikoa. All to get to Roman Reigns at the Alamo Dome at the Royal Rumble, which is rumored to be the match anyway. It almost had to be Owens or Sheamus, and it looks like that may be the story that they go with. So I thought that was a very telling line by Corey Graves tonight. Speaking of things on this show, I don't even know what to say about this. Seth Rollins was wearing a horrifying outfit on this show. Now, Seth Rollins has been known for his outlandish outfits with this gimmick of his. You never know what he's going to come out dressed up as or what he's going to be wearing. Tonight was by far the most horrifying of all of his outfits today. Seth Rollins in see-through lace. Seth Rollins in see-through lace doing that annoying laugh is the stuff of nightmares. It's the stuff that you would wake up from in a cold sweat. I don't know what he was thinking. Dexter Lumis earned himself a WWE contract. He is officially now a member of the Monday Night Raw roster. Unfortunately for him, the Monday Night Raw fans didn't really seem to care much. At least not based on the reaction they gave him during his match. And one thing I did like about tonight, Corey Graves on commentary and Kevin Patrick. The one good thing Kevin Patrick did, I guess, that I could actually compliment. They had the announcers really put over the dangers of War Games. So as the first time that they have used War Games as a gimmick on the main roster, you really wanted them to put it over strong. They did as good of a job as you could ask for. Because constantly, what they did tonight all throughout the show, whenever guys would come out, or women, who were in the Women's War Games match, Dakota Kai had her shoulder all taped up. The announcers were talking about how the other members of Damage Control were not medically cleared to compete tonight. Kevin Owens, Corey Graves kept going on about this guy. He's his own worst enemy. He's not 100%. Jey Uso with the taped up hand. Sami Zayn had a bandage on his hand. They really sold how brutal the War Games stipulation is. And if they're going to bring it back again, which I'm assuming Triple H is going to bring it back every year, that's what you want to do. That's what they used to do with Hell in a Cell. And they try, but Hell in a Cell, when it first became a thing, what did they sell it as, right? They sold it as the most brutal match imaginable. And it was good to see them do that with War Games here tonight. This is your Monday Night Raw review for November 28th, 2022. I am the Solomonster. Please hit that subscribe button. Super chats are open, like Justin, who dropped that $60 bomb on me here a few minutes ago. Justin, again, thank you. 350 likes is the goal tonight. If we are to do Be the Booker a little bit later, I think we're about halfway or almost halfway there already. And let me tell you something. That like button is just begging to be smacked. You would not believe the things that I heard. You would not believe, I see Brock Bennington in the chat. You would not believe what that like button said about your mother. Now, I'm not looking to go start trouble or anything like that. I'm just saying I couldn't believe that he said that. I just couldn't believe it. Mark in the chat. Mark, you would not. Look, brother, don't blame me. I can't even begin to tell you what that like button said about your wife. All right? So that thing deserves a good smack. So go ahead and do that for me if you would. And maybe we'll do some Be the Booker a little bit later on. So Raw tonight. Let's talk about how Raw opened up here. Because Monday Night Raw opened up with a shot of the Bloodline, minus Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman, who were not on the show tonight. But we had a shot of the Bloodline arriving at the building in the back, all smiles after their win at War Games, all unified, all in a very good mood. Sami Zayn and Jey Uso, they're like best friends now. They should do a Peacock show with Sami Zayn and Jey Uso, like a buddy cop type show with those two. Becky Lynch was the first one out to the ring, though. This was her first appearance on Monday Night Raw. Since the summer, we have not seen her since SummerSlam and the injury that she sustained in her match with Bianca Belair. She was very happy to be back. She said that the man should be out amongst the people. So she left the ring and she climbed over the barricade and she went walking up the stairs into the crowd. Always a dangerous thing to do at a wrestling show. So she walked up into the unwashed masses here on Monday Night Raw. And she met a fan in a yellow X-Men hoodie named Bobby. And she met Bobby, and then she met Zachary, who looked like he was about 5 beers in at that point. I'm sure they had their finger on the button in that production truck in case Zachary went off script. But Zachary was loud, but otherwise he behaved himself. She said that she's seen lots of new faces come in her time away, and she could not wait to knock each and every single one of their heads off. She mentioned beating up Bayley, and that, of course, was the cue for Bayley to come out. Bayley's music hits. Out comes Bayley to the ring. Bayley mocks Becky for hanging out with the peasants, and she's complaining that she gets no respect for anything that she's done. And the matches that she's been in, she's had a ladder match with Bianca Belair. She was in a last woman standing match with Bianca Belair. She was in War Games last night. And still, she gets no respect. Becky told her, "How dare you call Bob a peasant?" And Bayley, with the line of the night, comes back and says, "Hey, Bob, you suck." I don't know Bob personally. I can't say whether or not Bob sucks. But she said, "Bob, you suck." And Lynch said that Bob does not suck. She said Bayley has been losing and called her a loser and said, I can go to the ring right now and you and I can fight. And she started to make her way, but then she looked up and she saw Dakota Kai and Io Sky coming down the stairs, coming towards her. So a fight broke out, or a brawl broke out between them. Bayley joined in on the attack in the crowd. Now they're all trying to beat up on Becky in the staircase, and Becky is trying to get away. She's going up the stairs onto the concourse, which had conveniently been cleared out. So they had the fans on one side, they were contained. It was amazing how they just knew, right? So that whole area was cleared out for them to fight. There was a merch table, a whole merchandise stand over there. They brawled over by the merch stand. Damage Control threw Becky over the merch table, but she got right back up and started grabbing whatever she can get her hands on, any piece of merch that she could find, and she was throwing it at Damage Control. There was something in here. What the hell was that gold chain-looking thing that Becky grabbed? She hit Dakota Kai with it. It looked like that shit hurt, but I couldn't tell exactly what it was. It almost looked like jewelry, but I couldn't tell who it was for. Maybe if somebody else either has it or saw it and knows what it is, you can let me know. I don't know what that was, but it sounded like it hurt. So Becky was getting the better of all 3 women until the security guards came over to finally, break them up. And then they were able to, drag all the women away. So as if Damage Control did not look weak enough as it is, right? They lost in the War Games match last night. Bayley lost every match that she was in, basically, every singles match she was in with Bianca Belair. Tonight, they can't even beat up one woman. 3-on-1 advantage. They can't even beat up one woman. And then later on in the show, even though I know she was hurt coming out of War Games, she was hurting, but Dakota Kai lost to Candice LeRae. So Damage Control is not looking too good right now. I don't know what the future of Damage Control is, but just based on how they've been booked recently, they have not exactly been booked as a strong act on this show. Even though they have the women's tag team paperweights, it doesn't matter. Becky Lynch, though, came off like the biggest star in the entire division. You know why? Because she is. And that's exactly how she came across here. So I thought it was a fun opening segment. It was different. You know, it was different than what they usually give us to open the show. Different is good. Yes, Damage Control. Thank you, Quiz. Damage Control needs their own Damage Control. It's been that way for a few weeks. So we had Rhea Ripley out with Dominic in her corner against Michin, Mia Yim. Michin meaning crazy in Korean. She's the crazy Korean. Mia was in trouble, came back with a tornado DDT out of the ropes. She tried for Eat Defeat. Rhea avoided it. Tried for the Riptide. Mia, though, took her down with a spiked DDT. And Rhea rolled out to the floor to try to collect herself. Dominic got up on the apron to distract Mia. Mia brought him in over the top rope. She brought Dominic into the ring. Dominic now is crawling to the corner. He's begging off. So Rhea jumps Mia from behind, double legs her down, and she's mounting Mia Yim with punches. Dominic gets back up. He's all smiles. He's laughing. He's watching this. He's still in the ring, right? He hasn't gotten out of the ring yet. AJ Styles comes sprinting down to the ring from the back. He gets into the ring. He tackles Dominic, who trips over Rhea. Referee calls for the bell, signals for the disqualification. So the Judgment Day comes out. All of a sudden, we have Balor's out there. Priest is out there. And they exit, right? They're in the aisleway now. Everybody came out here. It was chaos. Anderson came out. Gallows came out. So now in the ring, you have the OC. And in the aisle, you have the Judgment Day. And AJ calls for the microphone. He says, "We end this tonight." And he challenged them to a 4-on-4 match, which was accepted. And normally, this would be the point in the show where they go to commercial. But it was commercial free. So they kept the show going. Judgment Day, hey, one thing I like, Judgment Day did not back down. They did not take time to think about it. They didn't tease going in the ring, and then they kind of chickened out. They were like, all right, you want to fight? We'll fight. And Judgment Day ran right at them into the ring, and a huge brawl broke out. Referee called for the bell, and we had ourselves an impromptu 4-on-4 match. And not only did we have ourselves an impromptu 4-on-4 match here, it was AJ Styles, Luke Gallows, Carl Anderson, and Mia Yim against Finn Balor, Damian Priest, Dominic Mysterio, and Rhea Ripley. This is a really fun match. I enjoyed this. The whole setup to this was chaotic, right? Fans were into it. The fans wanted to see the match. And I thought the match itself was a lot of fun. Gallows wiped out Priest on the announce desk. Styles delivered the same backflip DDT off the ropes where he does the backflip, lands on his feet, grabs Balor in position for a Scorpion Death Drop and takes him down. So he hit the same spot that he did at Survivor Series. Rhea broke up the pin attempt. And then Rhea tried to kick AJ Styles. AJ Styles catches Rhea's foot. And Rhea's kind of, begging off. And the fans are cheering because what do they want? They want AJ Styles to punch her in the mouth. That's what they want. They want to see AJ go after Rhea. And he's kind of teasing that he's going to do something, right? You don't know what he's going to do. So he's teasing it. Balor, though, gives him a sling blade. Rhea and Mia Yim, they both tag into the match. And Mia gives her a running boot, cannonball, and a suicide dive out to the floor. This was honestly the first time since she debuted on Monday Night Raw that Mia Yim sounded over with the crowd. The crowd was really behind her. In a lot of the matches we've seen her in so far, she hasn't had that many of them, but even last night when she entered into the War Games match, she's still the new person. There's people who don't know her because she hasn't been around for that long. So she hasn't been getting great reactions. Tonight was the first time I felt like she really got some great reactions and the people were into it. And I think it was very smart to attach her to an established name like AJ Styles, who the people love. as a way to try to help get her over and get her established. So I thought that was actually a smart thing for them to do. Dominic saved Damian Priest from a magic killer, sent Carl Anderson into the ring post shoulder first. Priest chokeslammed Luke Gallows, so AJ Styles immediately took out Damian Priest with a phenomenal forearm. Balor sent AJ out of the ring, and then he turned around and he walked right into a body slam by Mia Yim. And that got a big reaction from the crowd. She wasn't done yet, though. She body slams Finn Balor, and then she grabs a hold of Dominic and sets him up for what looks like a DDT. But before she could hit the DDT, Rhea kicks her in the knee and hits Riptide and pins Mia Yim to win it for the Judgment Day. So the Judgment Day get a rebound win coming off of Balor losing at Survivor Series and Rhea's team losing at War Games. I said this in my Survivor Series review on Saturday night. I really wish that Triple H would have given us one classic Survivor Series elimination match this year. And maybe he will in the future. He didn't do that this year. When I envisioned what that elimination match would be, before I knew that they were going to add Rhea to the War Games match, this is the match that I thought it would be. I thought it would be the Judgment Day against the OC in a classic Survivor Series elimination match. That's what we got tonight, only without the elimination rules. But I wish they would have done that at Survivor Series. But what we got tonight, even though it wasn't elimination, I thought was really good. This is a fun match. And look, props to Dominic too, because Dominic continues to get tremendous heat. Anytime he is out there, anytime he tries to stick his nose in the match, he's getting better. He's getting more comfortable in the role. You look at, like in this match tonight, there were a couple of different points in the match where he would tag in, he would do a move, he might get popped in the mouth, and he would immediately tag out, right? Like the little chicken shit that he is. So he's picking up on these things. He's getting better at this. And he's getting tremendous heat from the crowd. And so you could see the improvement with each passing week as far as him being part of the Judgment Day. I think it's been nothing but a positive for him. So Raw was pretty much zipping along. It was great. So far, without the commercials, Raw was great up to this point. Then we had earlier today, Byron Saxton caught up with the Street Profits. Street Profits were back. Montez Ford has been out with an injury for a while. He's all healed up. So they were back. They were arriving. Byron caught up to them. And they were interrupted by Chad Gable and Otis. And Gable called himself the best thing about Raw, said the show was better off without the Street Profits. Gable said Alpha Academy would put them back on the shelf for good. Angelo Dawkins called him an elf on a shelf. Profits said that they would win because they want the smoke. Would you look at this? The Street Profits and the Alpha Academy. I feel like deja vu. Some things never change. We had the Bloodline as this great first hour of Raw rolled on commercial free. Here comes the Bloodline. Sami Zayn, Jey Uso, Jimmy Uso, Solo Sikoa, hot off their win at War Games not last night, but I still think of Raw the night after, Saturday night. So they're out to the ring next. Jimmy opens by telling the fans the Bloodline is now in your city. This was a missed opportunity for him to come out there and say, where were they tonight? They were in Norfolk. Norfolk, we are inside you. That's what I would have said. Jay had his fingers all taped up. He said that he may have broken his hand for real and called it, as opposed to, I guess, what? The fake injury? That's what he said. And he said that he may have broken his hand for real, and he called it one of the toughest matches that they have ever been through. Again, putting over the danger of the War Games match and how brutal this match was. Jimmy said that there are now no cracks in the Bloodline. Everything is cool with the members of the Bloodline now. He said Kevin Owens is mad because Sami Zayn isn't his dog, he's our dog. And Sami said that Jimmy has been on his side all along, and he has been down since day one, which he has. Jimmy has always liked Sami. Jimmy's always gotten a kick out of Sami. They have that stupid little handshake they do. So Sami told Jay that, the last 6 months have not been easy. He knows that Jay didn't trust him. He knows that Jay didn't like him. But he said that the way Jay accepted him after the War Games match was very oozy. And Sammy said that he hopes he and Jay will be on the same page going forward. He put his hand out for a handshake. And Jay looked at his hand and he kind of laughed and he smacked his hand away and he went in and he gave him a hug. So we got another embrace between Jey Uso and Sami Zayn, just like we did on Saturday. So now they bring in Jimmy for the group hug. And Jimmy comes in, right? Now they look over at Solo Sikoa, who's got that stoic look on his face, arms crossed, like the top of the Andre the Giant Memorial Trophy. He's looking at these guys like, are you for real? And the fans want him to come in for the hug, but before he can, we have Kevin Owens walking out to interrupt the party. He walks out onto the stage. He's got a microphone in his hand. And in the ring, Sammy tells Owens to just stop. Just stop before you do something stupid. And Owens said that, look, that's not why I'm here. Said that he wasn't there to fight him after what he did at War Games. Owens said that he was there to tell Sammy that he gets it. He tells Sammy that he understands. I get it. Said that he did the same to Sami Zayn many times over the years, turning on him or whatever you want to call it, and he doesn't blame him one bit. It's exactly what I said on Saturday. I said that Sami Zayn was perfectly justified in doing what he did because Kevin Owens has done the same to him. Kevin Owens has done the same to many people. Kevin Owens did the same thing to Chris Jericho. The guy is a menace. Sami Zayn gave him a taste of his own medicine. Sami did nothing wrong. Owens admitted as much here in this segment. Owens said that their careers have been linked together for 20 years. He said that he doesn't want to fight Sami. He doesn't want to be partners with Sami. He doesn't even want to travel to the building with Sami. He said that he's done. No riding to the shows, nothing. He's done. He doesn't want to have anything to do with him anymore. And after he said that, the camera zoomed in on Sami Zayn in the ring, and you can see it on his face. You could just read it on his face. You could see how those words cut deep. The way he sold it, I thought was perfect. You could just read it on his face. Sami was so good here. And then, of course, he kind of shook it off, and he said, good. He said, good because I feel the same way about you. Said that I'm okay if I'm never even in the same room with you again. I don't need you anymore. I have family now. And Kevin Owens said that, I'm genuinely happy for you because everyone can finally see after all these years just how great you really are. He said that he loves that Sami is finally getting the recognition that he deserves, but he wanted Sami to know one very important thing about the bloodline. And this was one of the key lines here in this promo, if not the key line. He said, "You're not their real blood, and you never will be." So that, ladies and gentlemen, is what you call foreshadowing. Jay told Sami, don't worry about KO. He said Owens was just mad because he didn't have family around him. He said that if Owens has a problem with Sami Zayn, then he's got a problem with Jey Uso. And Owens said that he was done with Sami, but he never said he was done with Jey Uso. He'd be more than happy to get in the ring with Jay tonight and kick his ass. And Jay accepted the challenge, and so the match was made for the main event later in the show. This was a great exchange here between Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. All of these bloodline segments, it's an ensemble thing. They all play their part. So even Solo Sikoa doesn't say a fucking thing. He just stands there, and it's perfect because everybody else is cracking and laughing and Usi, and all he does is just stand there. He's the enforcer of the group. He's not there to be smiling and laughing and giggling and joking around with everybody else. So he doesn't do much, but I think Solo is perfect in his part. But everybody plays a part in these segments. Tonight, it wasn't Roman Reigns. It wasn't even Sami and Jay. It was Sami and KO. Because now Survivor Series is behind us. We are now heading into the Royal Rumble and WrestleMania season. Things are going to start to ramp up now with this story. Kevin Owens is going to be involved in this story. But I thought my favorite part of this entire segment is when Owens made the comment about how I don't want to fight you, I don't want to team with you, I don't want to ride to the shows with you, I don't want to have anything to do with you anymore. And that shot of Sami's face, he looked like he was about to cry. Because you could tell, like, it's his best friend. It hurt his feelings, but he can't sell it, right? He's got to no sell it. Well, I don't care. I don't need you. I have my family now. Yes, but for how long? For how much longer is he going to have this family? That's the question. But I thought this segment was tremendous, and now the stage is set. Stage is set for, obviously, the eventual turn on Sammy. It's going to be heartbreaking, but then the stage is set for WrestleMania, and I can't wait. I can't wait. I'm loving this story. Candice LeRae was walking backstage when Kathy Kelly walked up to her and asked her about her match later on tonight with Dakota Kai. This is the first time that we've seen Candice on TV probably in about a month since she was attacked by Damage Control. Candice grabbed the mic out of Kathy's hand, looked directly into the camera, and said, "Allow me to reintroduce myself to Damage Control. I'm Candice LeRae." And she said that she is the one who was going to take out Dakota Kai tonight. Matt Riddle was in the back with Elias being interviewed, and Riddle said that he was having an awesome time teaming with Elias. Well, at least someone is having an awesome time with this story, because I am not. Elias said that, he sees himself more of a solo act, but he did enjoy their team. He said, "I've never been tag team champion before." And suddenly the bloodline arrived. Jey Uso walked up, and he was very amused by that comment. He was very amused by Elias saying, "I've never been a tag team champion before." And Jey Uso says, "And you never will." And I said the same thing, about Elias. I remember there was a time when he came out with that album called Universal Truth. And I remember announcing it on the stream that night. I said, Elias has a new album out called Universal Truth. Universal being one of the many titles that Elias will never win. You could add the tag team titles to that list. Elias told them to put their money where their mouths are, give them a shot at the tag team titles, and the Usos said anytime, any place. And that match is now official for Raw next Monday. So the question is that where Elias turns on Matt Riddle? Because it's going in that direction. That's exactly where they're headed. Does it happen next week, or do they drag things out a little bit longer? It's 50-50 if it happens next week. We have the Street Profits against the Alpha Academy, a match that we have seen a dozen times on TV. Not that it's ever bad, but we've seen this match so many times that I'm kind of numb to it at this point. Montez Ford picked up Otis and body slammed him, which was the big pop here in this match, was the visual of Montez. And he picked him up, too. This was no hip toss here. This was not Luger on the Intrepid. This was him picking up Otis, who's a big guy. Not as big as Yoko, but nonetheless, he's a big guy, and slamming him down. Angelo Dawkins hit a spine buster on Chad Gable. Montez Ford went up for his frog splash from the sky, and he got the pin. So it was a good comeback win for the Street Profits, who have not wrestled a match in many weeks since Ford got hurt. But, with the Usos having a stranglehold, at least through WrestleMania, on those tag team titles, we know those titles are not going anywhere. We don't know when they're going to split the titles, if they're going to split the titles. Same thing with the Roman Reigns situation. We don't know when that may or may not happen either. But the Usos are going to be the tag team champions for many more months to come. They've got those titles on lockdown. What that has done is it has paralyzed the rest of the tag team division because they don't really have anything to fight for. So you have the Street Profits, who have been tag team champions before. They've wrestled the Usos multiple times, just like the Alpha Academy. And every single one of those times, they failed to walk away with the tag team titles. So now they're back. And what do you do with the Street Profits? Right? You don't really have a lot of great opponents for them to get into the ring with. So that's why one of the reasons why I think now is the perfect time for Montez Ford to start getting some singles matches. Not saying they have to break up right now, but we have seen Angelo Dawkins get a pretty decent number of singles matches on TV this year. Hey, Peter with the 1999 Super Chat on a Monday night. Peter, Quartieri. Thank you, Peter. Peter Piper. I love it. Thank you for the love. No message either. Just dropping some love here on the channel, man. That warms my heart. Warms my heart like some hot cocoa on a winter's night. Haven't had hot cocoa probably in 20 years, but I would imagine hot cocoa probably tastes pretty good on a cold winter night. You want to know how cold it was here in New York today? It's going to be almost 60 degrees on Wednesday. That's how cold it is here in New York. I don't know what is going on with this weather. It's going to be 60, and the next day, I guarantee you, first thing in the morning, it's going to feel like 28. It's ridiculous. So, Montez Ford, I think, needs some more singles matches because Angelo Dawkins has gotten almost all of them. They have to start preparing for life after the Street Profits because the Street Profits are only going to be able to go so far, especially as long as the Usos have those tag team titles on lockdown. Montez Ford just kind of floating around in the tag team division to me is a waste of Montez. Frankly, it's a waste of both of them. You know, Angelo Dawkins has put the work in too. They talked about that on commentary, right? Physically, his work in the ring, he's put the work in. It pissed him off to hear people, you know, like me, talking about how Montez Ford is a future world champion and Montez Ford is going to be the one who goes to the top and Angelo Dawkins, he's a good hand, or he's the Jannetty and, you know, Ford is the Shawn Michael. I mean, I've never said that, but that's sort of what, you know, the analogy would be. And so it really lit a fire under his ass, and he's put the work in, and good for him. But Montez Ford is still the one, I think, with the greatest singles potential of the two. And there's nothing wrong with trying to get him some more singles matches to prepare for life after the Street Profits, which I think is going to be coming sooner rather than later. I think the time has come. We didn't get a draft this year. There was no draft. My hope is that Triple H has enough sense to not do a draft in October, which is a fucking terrible time to do a draft. You do a draft in April, you do a draft in May, you do a draft sometime after WrestleMania. If there is a draft, and I don't even know what purpose it would serve, because as I've said a million times, people come and go from Monday to Friday and Friday to Monday like it's nothing, so why even bother with a draft? But if they were to have one, we may well see the breakup of the Street Profits. Not that one guy has to turn on the other, but just they kind of go their separate ways. Ford on one brand, probably Raw, right? I would imagine where Bianca Belair goes, so goes he. And then Angelo Dawkins may be on SmackDown. So that's going to be something to watch for. If they do a draft, I could definitely see the Street Profits being split up in the draft. The new United States Champion, Austin Theory, made his way to the ring to address the fans. He asked, "Who's the kid now?" Right? He doesn't like it when people call him a kid. Who's the kid now? He said that all of the fans believe that he had the worst Money in the Bank cash-in of all time. He said that he never wanted to be called a kid again after beating Seth Rollins and Bobby Lashley at the same time to become a two-time United States champion. Theory said that he's no longer the next big this or the next big that. He said that he is someone who has now arrived. He is the now and forever of WWE. He called himself the face of Monday Night Raw. He said people have had a problem with him since the day he arrived. He chalked it up to jealousy. He said that everybody wants to be him. Theory said that he's younger, stronger, better, and unescapable. The Austin Theory era begins now. All we need is Jim Ross to come back and start shouting, "The Austin era has begun." So that brought out Seth Rollins, wearing the most ridiculous outfit that I have seen him wear yet on this show. As you see it there on your screen. A black lace top and lace pants. He was out there looking like he was dressed in something that he bought Becky for Valentine's Day. He walked to the... I'm going to leave that on screen for a couple of minutes just so... that's the last image I want you to see before you go to bed tonight. He walked to the ring, and he went face-to-face with Theory, and he told Theory to shut your mouth and let them sing. And sing they did. They sang his song. Rollins said Theory may have lucked his way into the U.S. title, but it does not change anything. He says, you know deep down in your soul that Monday Night Raw belongs to me. And at the end, he said, before I go, I have only one thing to say to you. Congratulations, kid. Theory was fuming. So Rollins challenged him to a match right now. He said, give me your best shot, kid. And Rollins gave him his chin. He stuck his face out. Theory just stood there fuming. He held back. And he said that he would fight Rollins, but on the champ's time. Theory put the mic down at his side and he told Rollins, and I'm not your damn kid. And with that, Theory left. So the more serious Austin Theory, definitely the way to go. And it looks like Bobby Lashley, he was conspicuous by his absence tonight. Doesn't look like he's going to be a part of this going forward. So if he's not going to be part of this United States Championship program, if it's just going to be Rollins and Theory now, I'm interested to see, because he's talked again about wanting to reform the Hurt Business. So I'm very curious to see if they start teasing that at all. And if they put the Hurt Business back together, Triple H may say, you know what, you guys are right. Vince split you up. There was still mileage left in it. Let's give it another shot. And we could very well have a Hurt Business reunion. So I'm not sure what they're going to do with Lashley, but it doesn't look like he's going to be a part of this. So backstage. I told you I was going to leave it up. Here, I'll put it back up. There you go. That's right, the shoes. I didn't mention the shoes. Look at the shoes, too. Look at this guy. And there are people who want this guy to go to the main event of WrestleMania to be the one to take the championship from Roman Reigns. You gotta be out of your fucking mind. So backstage, The Miz was interviewed by Byron Saxton. You know what? If they actually do Rollins and Reigns in the main event of WrestleMania, he's got to make his entrance at WrestleMania in front of 75,000 people in that outfit. He's got to wrestle like that. That'll be your new champion. So The Miz was interviewed in the back by Byron Saxton, and he had a bag filled with cash, the money that he still owed to Dexter Lumis. And he also had his hand taped up. And he said the match would not happen because he injured his hand again. Now remember, the last time he claimed that he hurt his hand while he was filming a TikTok. So now he claims that he injured his hand again. Adam Pearce shows up, says that I'm not buying the injury. This match with Dexter tonight is going to take place as scheduled. And The Miz told Pearce that he would be hearing from his attorney. Dexter Lumis made his entrance for their Anything Goes match. And the stipulation here in this match was that if Dexter Lumis wins, he earns himself a WWE contract. So even though he is not technically under contract to WWE, he's been making entrances from the back. They have theme music all queued up for him. Not even an official WWE name, but he's got the full entrance. So he came down to the ring. The Miz came out. He teased going backstage. He was going to have second thoughts, but Adam Pearce came out and said, no, you're going to the ring. So when Miz turned around, Loomis was standing there on the apron, and he turned around to face Adam Pearce and yell at him. When he turned back around, and the camera panned over, Loomis was gone. We didn't know where he went. Adam Pearce came walking down. He took the bag of money, brought it down to the ring with him. Miz followed, and out from the shadows came Dexter Lumis. He clotheslined the Miz down, threw him inside the ring. When Loomis tried to enter the ring, Miz put him down with a DDT and quickly had the referee ring the bell to start the match. When they came back from break, I should have grabbed a picture of this because this just looked completely ridiculous. They come back from break, and the Miz has placed a clamp, like one of these C-clamps, on Loomis's head. The ones you put the clamp on and you crank it, like he's trying to crush his skull like a nutcracker. And it's having no effect on Dexter Lumis. And he's got this stupid clamp on his head with his eyes bulging out of his head. And the Miz has this look on his face like he's scared for his life. This was so stupid. That image is going to become a meme. But this was just ridiculous. They brawled into the crowd. Miz set up a table. Loomis, though, ended up putting Miz through the table with an elbow drop. Back in the ring, Miz dropped Loomis face first into the exposed middle turnbuckle. Tried for a pin with his feet on the ropes. Loomis kicked out. And Loomis then kicked up, put Miz in his head and neck choke, and got the tap out for the submission win. So Adam Pearce was waiting outside the ring. He had a contract. Dexter Lumis went outside. He grabbed the pen. He put pen to paper and signed his first WWE contract. So Dexter Lumis is officially part of the Monday Night Raw roster. And Adam Pearce handed him the giant sack with money on the inside. And Dexter took his sack, and he was taking things out of his sack and giving them to children at ringside. This is a TVPG show, mind you. So he's pulling out these $100 bills, and he's handing them out to some kids in the front row, right? Because here's the thing. People didn't care about this match. There was virtually no reaction to anything in this match. And that really has been the case with a lot of Dexter Lumis segments on TV so far. So now we have Dexter Lumis paying off the people. Trying to pay off the people to get cheered by this crowd. I see what he's doing. I see what WWE is having him do. He's paying off the little kids here in the front row. He gets to the aisleway, right? And he gives one kid a $100 bill. And they zoom in and the kid's holding the bill up. It's almost like he's checking it to make sure it's not counterfeit. The Miz attacks Loomis from behind. He drops the bag. Miz picks up the bag of money. And then he reaches over and snatches the $100 bill out of the little kid's hand. Gets great heat for it. Turns around into a super kick by a waiting Johnny Gargano. Miz is out cold. Drops the bag of money. Still has the $100 bill in his hand. And Johnny reaches down, grabs the bag. He grabs the dollar bill out of his hand. He hands the $100 bill back to the kid. Dexter Lumis gives the kid a thumbs up. The kid gives him a thumbs up back. Gargano gives him a thumbs up. Lumis gives Gargano. Everyone's giving their thumbs up here, right? Everyone's getting the thumbs up. So the good guy prevailed, right? The good prevailed over evil here at the end of this match. So yeah, the crowd liked Lumis when he started handing out wads of cash. But up to that point, they could not possibly give a shit. Virtually no reaction to anything that they were doing here in this match. And here's the thing, Lumis has a contract now, right? Okay, so we're going to start to see him on a more regular basis on TV. The whole gimmick of him being a mute and not saying anything is still a relatively new gimmick to the main roster, although this has been dragging on for far too long. The one good thing about this, my hope, this is the end of this story with Dexter Lumis and The Miz. If this was the payoff and this is the end, at least something good came out of this. Because I am done with this. Lumis can only be a mute for so long. He's going to have to speak. He's going to have to show more personality at some point. This is a gimmick that is going to die in the long term unless he evolves it. I said the same thing in NXT. I said the exact same thing. This gimmick will work to a point, but you have to change it, you have to tweak it, and evolve it over time, or else it's going to get very, very old very fast. And Dexter Lumis initially in NXT was super over, and then they did the stuff with Indy Hartwell that got over. He's not over right now. How is he going to get over? He's not going to get over by coming out and just staring and not saying anything, right? That's not going to get over. So he's going to have to figure out a way to try to draw the fans in. Handing them $100 bills every week is only going to get you so far. But I am very happy that it appears this program is finally over. Hopefully I didn't jinx it, but it looks like it's over. We had Candice LeRae against Dakota Kai. Candice attacked Dakota as Dakota was making her entrance. And they went to a picture-in-picture break when all of this was occurring. She was throwing Dakota into the barricades. So when they came back, the match was already in progress. Dakota's shoulder all taped up from the War Games match. She had that Kinesio tape on it. They gave these two women 14 minutes. They gave them plenty of time to have a long match here. Didn't have much heat. 14 minutes is asking a lot of a match here between Candice LeRae and Dakota Kai when, I mean, Candice LeRae, she debuted on television and within a matter of weeks, they did the injury angle with her. She hasn't been seen in a month. She's still new. She still has that new car smell. And a lot of people don't know of her from NXT. This is really their first introduction to her. So, of course, she goes out there and doesn't get much of a reaction. People still don't know hardly anything about her. So 14 minutes was asking a lot. The work was good. I thought, the match itself, I thought they had a good match. But this is a woman who missed 4 weeks of TV. And, people don't really have a great frame of reference for her unless they know her from NXT. And I guarantee you a lot of the people in that building tonight don't. Because they don't watch NXT. And she hasn't been on NXT anyway in, I mean, God, how long has it been? Over a year, right? Probably over a year. Dakota caught Candice with a scorpion kick. Kai placed LeRae on the ropes. Went for a superplex. Candice fought free, hit a neck breaker from the middle rope, and got the 3 count. So Candice did. She did deliver on her promise. She kicked Dakota's ass and she won the match. And another loss for Damage Control. Backstage, Kathy Kelly interviewed Bianca Belair, Alexa Bliss, and Asuka. Bray Wyatt's moth logo very briefly appeared. It was a quick glitch on the screen right behind Alexa. That's been happening a lot lately. Belair said that she held down the division despite Damage Control's attempt to take it over. She said that she's happy with the team that she chose because they were able to win at War Games. Asuka said something, she was very excited and said something in Japanese. When Kathy asked Alexa for her thoughts, at first Alexa didn't respond. She stood there like she just was in La La Land, wasn't paying attention at all, until finally she kind of shook it off and she smiled and she agreed that Bianca adding Becky to their team was the right call to make. So what's clear to me is that we are going to be getting Dark Alexa. Dark Alexa is coming back. And my one and only hope in getting Dark Alexa Bliss back is that they don't bring her back with the fucking doll. Leave the doll at home. No more Lily. I don't want to go back to that. They want to turn Alexa Bliss. They want to turn her heel and have her feud with Bianca or Asuka or somebody. Alexa Bliss, ever since Alexa Bliss came back, I mean, think about this. Even if you're not a big Alexa Bliss fan, look at what Alexa Bliss has done. Look at the opportunities they have given her and what she has done on the main roster since she debuted. I'm almost positive that she has, maybe Charlotte is the exception, but between Raw and SmackDown, how many championships does Alexa Bliss have? She has a lot. I think Alexa was the first woman on the main roster to hold the Raw and SmackDown women's titles. She's been a multiple-time champion and a tag team champion. She was part of the Bray Wyatt storyline, so she was in a feature main event level storyline for quite some time. So she's always been a featured performer in the women's division. Ever since she came back and she's been the smiling, bubbly babyface and they gave her new music and all that, it's almost like they're just kind of going through the motions with her. She's got no real character definition. We don't know, kind of where she stands or what she stands for, why she's teaming with Asuka all of a sudden. How did they end up as a pairing? It's been very lazy. There's been no story behind it. She's just kind of been listlessly wandering around, wrestling random matches that don't really, mean anything. So now it looks like maybe, if she does turn heel, she might have her first real program since coming back. Because since coming back, this is not Alexa Bliss. This is a different person than the one that we saw before. And I don't just mean the dark gimmick that she was doing the last time we saw her with Bray. Even before that, the goddess, right? The goddess Alexa Bliss. I don't know what this version of Alexa Bliss is. This is the undefined version of Alexa Bliss. So now it looks like that may be starting to change very soon. But just for the love of God, leave the doll behind. The main event was Kevin Owens against Jey Uso. As I said, Jey Uso headlining SmackDown Friday night with his brother against Drew McIntyre and Sheamus, winning War Games on Saturday, in the main event on Raw tonight. This guy's all over the place. Owens went for a swanton bomb, but Jey got his knees up. Owens caught Jey with a kick, tried to suplex him, but he was selling his back. That was one of the key points of the match, is that Owens had a bad back, especially coming out of War Games last night. Everybody was banged up from War Games. Kevin Owens was no exception. Owens came back with a cannonball in the corner, clutched his back again. Jey regained control, hit a pop-up neck breaker. Owens eventually rallied with a fisherman buster from the middle rope. Sami Zayn was outside, as was Jey and Solo Sikoa. Sami's out there trying to rally Jey into this thing, shouting encouragement at him. He dropped Owens with a super kick. Owens got up, ran into another super kick. Jey waited for Owens to get to his knees, went for another super kick. Owens, though, stuffed it, threw one of his own. Owens went for a pop-up powerbomb, but his back gave out. Jey dropped him with another super kick. It's ridiculous. And covered him for another close near fall. You know, if the Usos ever do wrestle the Young Bucks, I don't think there's enough super kicks in the world to sustain a match between these two teams. And all the people who dislike super kicks, I mean, I could see the steam coming out of their ears now watching that match. How aggravating would it be to see the constant stream of super kicks between the Usos and the Young Bucks? I don't know, what other moves would they even bother doing in the match? It would just be nonstop super kicks. Owens ended up outside. He hit Jey with a punch. Jimmy followed Owens onto the apron. Owens super kicked Jimmy. Owens and Jey traded punches. The referee pulled Jey away, and so he missed Solo Sikoa, tripping Kevin Owens on the apron. Owens rolled back inside. Jey went for a top rope Uso splash, rolled through, and Owens avoided it. And Owens dropped Jey with a stunner, and he got the pinfall, and he wins the match. So Kevin Owens redeems himself after a loss at War Games. This is a very good main event. It got the people more into it the longer it went. As the match went along, they were into all the near falls at the end. The finish, though, my critique of the finish is that it felt very much like 50-50 booking, which is what it was, basically. 50-50 booking where, you know, Jey Uso pinned Kevin Owens in War Games on Saturday. So they run it back on Monday, one-on-one, and this time Kevin Owens pins Jey Uso and gets his win back. Maybe there should be another match now between them. Before KO moves on to Jimmy and Solo and the other members of the Bloodline, maybe there should be another match because, you know, in effect, they're kind of knotted up at one win apiece. Maybe there'll be another match between Owens and Jey Uso. But, you know, you had Owens taking the loss, and then 48 hours later, he gets his win back. But, again, the telling line from Corey Graves, when he was pushing the idea that Kevin Owens may have to go through all the members of the Bloodline, that sets the stage for Owens eventually to finally get to the final boss and get that championship match in San Antonio at the Royal Rumble. Kevin Owens against Roman Reigns. And then in Montreal at Elimination Chamber the following month, you do Sami Zayn against Roman Reigns. And then at WrestleMania, you do Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. And you know after the promo tonight that the reunion will come, right? The reunion is, of course the reunion is coming. And it's going to be a great moment. And they'll challenge the Usos for the tag team titles at WrestleMania. So it is written by the Solomonster, so it shall be done. I mean, everybody is talking about that now as the idea. I feel like I was first talking about Owens and Zayn as partners against the Usos like 3 months ago. And now it's like, it's such a talked about idea that now I see people going, well, you can't do that because it's so predictable. Yes, but sometimes predictable is the way to go. That's the best ending to the story. Some people would say, no, the best ending to the story is Sami Zayn being the one to beat Roman Reigns. I don't see that happening. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn against the Usos. We saw the beginnings of that here on this show tonight. The stage has been set. And again, next week, it's the Usos defending the tag team titles against Elias and Matt Riddle. And we'll see if Elias does, in fact, turn on Matt Riddle in that match. Let's take a look at the Raw poll. 63% thumbs up for this show tonight. The vast majority of that, I'm sure, due to the first hour of this show. 24% thumbs in the middle and 12.6% thumbs down. So there you go. At Solomonster on Twitter, get those votes in and let me know what you thought about the show tonight. A very, very enjoyable first hour. An excellent first hour of Monday Night Raw. And tonight, actually, now that I think about it, tonight was one of those nights that it really hits home. If this was a 2-hour show, as great as that first hour was, and as quickly as the show blew by in that first 60, 65 minutes, if this was a 2-hour show, this would have been, an incredible episode of Raw. Because it was 3 hours, once you got to that second hour, a lot of what we got in hour 2 and 3, I thought was pretty boring, actually. Until we got to that main event, which I very much enjoyed. But this was one of those nights where it's like, man, if this show was 2 hours from 8 to 10, whew, that would have been great. But they have that extra hour to fill, and it definitely felt like it. All right, let us go to your Super Chats now. Again, you can send a Super Chat in. You can also become a channel member. You can gift channel memberships if you would like to do that as well. Of course, it is the holiday season. It is the season of giving. But I believe, just a word of warning, and tell me if I'm wrong, but I believe you can only gift memberships, for whatever reason, I think from PC. I don't think you can do that on mobile. So anybody, there was one question earlier about that. Somebody couldn't figure out how to do it. I believe that's the reason why, so just be aware of that. Mark in the chat, no. Raw is not going back to 2 hours anytime soon. The answer is no. Unfortunately, that is not going to happen. So long as USA Network has a say, that is not going to happen. Flamethrower Fluff Salisbury, thank you for the $5 super chat. I think that we should start making WrestleZania now and get rich. He'll definitely be doing something big next year. Shinakuma, the Uso and Sammy hug brought a tear to my eye. I was happy for Sammy. That's what happens with good storytelling. That keeps you invested. This is some of the best storytelling WWE has done in the last 20 years. It's been tremendous. And I do wonder, because this storyline started when Vince McMahon was still the head of creative. So you still got to give him some credit at least, right? He was still overseeing this story when it first started, but if Vince McMahon was still the head of creative, would this story still be going on? I don't think it would be. I don't think it would be. I think this story would have been fucked up a long time ago. Queen Fire Panda, adopt me, Solomonster. Nope. Absolutely not. Josiah Ball, hit that like button, just showing some love. Josiah, thank you. Amiibo Juice, KO is just going to turn on Sammy again after they reunite. Can't trust the bloodline? You can't even trust KO. I'd rather they go a different route. As they said tonight in the promo, Owens and Zayn have been friends going back 20 years, long before they were in WWE. There's been a lot of twists and turns in their relationship, but they always end up back together. The whole point of the story is that Sami Zayn at some point is going to wake up to the harsh reality that Roman Reigns and Jey Uso and the Bloodline don't give a shit about him. And that line tonight from Kevin Owens about how you're not blood, you are not blood, and you never will be, is going to come back to haunt Sami Zayn. That will be in the video package that they put together for their tag team match at WrestleMania. So the whole point is, yes, Owens and Zayn have had their issues before, but when the turn goes down and Sami is excommunicated from the Bloodline and the reality sets in that, holy shit, Owens was right the whole time. And the two of them reunite for a common cause, which is to take down the Bloodline and end that tag team title run that Jimmy and Jay are on. That's the story. That's the story. Doesn't matter that Owens has turned on Zayn before. Everybody in wrestling has turned on each other. If I were a wrestler, I probably would have had about five or six different babyface and heel turns by now. I would turn on everybody, whatever I have to do to get to the top. Whatever I have to do to advance my own interests. That's what I would do. If I had to take a fucking claw hammer to the back of somebody's head to get a championship match, that's what I would do. Everybody turns on everybody. That's wrestling. You can't trust anybody. Mr. Andrew with the $4.99 super chat. Best Raw in the last month. Not a coincidence that Baron and JBL were not on the show and Raw was not trash. You know, now that you mentioned that, I did not even realize they were not on the show tonight. I did not even, their names did not even cross my mind. At no point did I even think of JBL or Baron Corbin. Rizzo with the $10 super chat. Good evening, Solo and chat. I know you are not fond of the Sammy and Money in the Bank contract idea, but hear this out. I forget if it was Fightful or Wrestling Inc., but one of those sites said that Shawn Michaels and Triple H pitched a Sammy Money in the Bank win, but Vince, of course, changed his mind and went with Theory. What if Roman faces Rock non-title and then they just do what they wanted to do with Sammy and Money in the Bank after Mania? I just think the Money in the Bank thing that ship has sailed. It could have worked. Sami Zayn winning the Money in the Bank briefcase and promising Roman Reigns that I'm going to protect it, I'm going to hold it. I want it so that nobody else can cash in on you. And then having those moments in the months that followed where, you know, Sammy might think about it. He might give a certain look, right? That would have been great drama. I have no idea if Triple H or Shawn Michaels pitched that. I don't know why Shawn Michaels would be pitching ideas for the main roster. He's doing the NXT creative stuff. So I don't believe that Shawn Michaels pitched anything for this. Triple H might have, though. Triple H probably saw the same thing. You know, that would have made for a better story. In fact, I believe that a hell of a lot more than Shawn Michaels pitching it, because one of the first things Triple H did as quickly as he felt he could was get the fucking briefcase off of Austin Theory. Because I don't think Triple H would have put the briefcase on Austin Theory in the first place. But Rizzo, thank you for the super chat. $30 from Rizzo, thank you. Chris Mikesell, the woman Seth Rollins wearing the man's drip tonight. Yeah, well, maybe, Becky calls herself the man. Maybe Rollins can call himself the woman. Now he sounds like David Schultz. The woman. Aussie of Steel. We were so close tonight to seeing AJ give the beats to Rhea, but that's okay. Even stopping the attack is progression. How very progressive of you. Justin with that $60 super chat from earlier. Justin is the king of the super chat tonight. I can't thank you and the members of the Facebook group for your support. I was in a rough spot there for a while, but I'm doing better. Much love to all of you. Justin, I'm very happy to hear that you are in a better spot. And even happier to hear that you actually got something positive out of the Facebook group. That may be the biggest surprise of the night. So that is very cool. I'm very happy to hear that. Cameron Johnson, what's the song in your intro called? As I always say, check the description down below. All the information that you need is there. Winter's Paw, Mia looked great tonight. Got her old theme back. Yeah, again, first time that we've seen Mia Yim feel like she's, truly over and getting a real reaction from the audience tonight. So that was good to see. Tyler, this was a great Raw tonight. Best one in a while. Slim Yoshi, great episode of Raw tonight. Also, now that we had the last WWE pay-per-view, what are the 3 strongest pay-per-views of the year and the 3 weakest? I don't know. I have to go back and remind myself about, all the shows. There's so many of them. I don't remember all of them. So I'm probably going to save that for the end of the year. I usually do like a Wrestler of the Year, top matches of the year, because we're getting very close to the year-end stuff. So I'd rather wait and save it for that. Once I have a chance to go back over my notes and kind of remind myself about what all the different shows were this year. You got the Saudi shows, you got so many shows, and the AEW pay-per-views also. We have got Winter's Paw. Don't be mad at Seth because he could pull it off. I don't think he could. I don't think he pulled it off at all, actually. Bobby's World with the $10 super chat. Did not catch the show tonight, but heard the open was fire. As for Seth, well, my girlfriend always asks why he's wearing Becky's wardrobe. Hope you in the chat have a good night. He's out there looking like Trish Stratus tonight. Only Trish wore it a lot better than he did. Dr. Shrimp Puerto Rico with the $5 super chat. Best Raw in a couple of months. Can you see Sammy having a Kofi Mania-like run and dethroning Roman at WrestleMania? Or do you think Sammy and Owens against the Usos is the play? I think Sammy and Owens against the Usos is the play. Could there be a Kofi Mania situation? Absolutely. The fans will dictate that. If the fans feel that strongly about it, they'll make their voices heard at the arenas, just like they did in 2019. You can't predict those things. They just happen. Nobody could have predicted that would happen in 2019. Who's to say the same thing doesn't happen in 2023? Is it possible? Absolutely, it's possible. But if you go and listen to the segment I did on the podcast yesterday, on episode 784, and I made a comment in there because I think people are looking at this, and they did this with Kofi Kingston as well, and the Kofi thing was a great story. But I'm looking at this thinking, okay, Roman Reigns is going to be champion by that point for nearing 3 years. Like, if he loses the championships at WrestleMania, it won't be 3 years. It'll be more like 2.5 years. We haven't seen a run like that in ages, right? Even when Kofi won the belt from Daniel Bryan, Bryan had the belt for a few months. This is like the mother of all reigns in the last 25 years, 30 years. We haven't seen another run like this. The closest thing was CM Punk at 434 days. Roman Reigns just passed 800-something days. So when that person beats Roman Reigns and takes those championships, that person should be the guy. That's the person that you want to build around and say, okay, this is the person who dethroned Roman Reigns. This is the person that we're going to go with now as our top champion, and really build around that person. I can see someone like Cody Rhodes. I could see someone like Seth Rollins being in that spot. I can't imagine them using Sami Zayn in that spot. So I just don't think that they're going to go with Sami in that spot. I think they're going to have the story play out with the tag team stuff, and I think they're going to save that spot, as far as who beats Roman, for somebody else. If the fans really want to see it, then the fans will try to will it and make it happen. But I'm looking at it beyond WrestleMania, or whenever Roman loses those championships. I'm looking at it even beyond that. Can I see Sami Zayn really, like the company really building around him as that guy? Is he the one who's going to be in that spot? I don't think he is. Because for him to beat Roman Reigns and then turn around and lose the belts to somebody else, like, whoever beats Roman Reigns, you got to give them, you know, some kind of lengthy run. Doesn't have to be 2 years like Roman, but I just can't see Sami Zayn being that guy. I just don't see it. I think when this story plays out, people will still like Sami, but when the story is over, the story is over. And I just think there are better people who, you know, would be a fit for that spot. I love Sami Zayn. You know, I think he's fantastic. I don't hate the idea. I just, realistically, I don't see it. I don't see it happening. Jay Baker, Seth is the newest member of the Maximum Male Midcarders. Thirsting Howl the Third. Yo Solo, what's up, fam? I was watching reruns of Empty Nest. Oh my god, I haven't seen that show in ages. You know, Empty Nest was a spin-off of the Golden Girls. That's why they had Sophia on the show. It says, and I made the mistake of going on Twitter and I saw Fire Ronda Rousey was trending. Well, there's always someone new is always trending every day on Twitter. I log into Twitter almost every day and the first name I see trending is Cornette. I don't even click on it anymore. I'm like, all right, I don't know what he said now, but Cornette is trending. Disco Dipshit is trending. Somebody else said something stupid. That's trending. I don't even pay attention half the time to these stupid trends. Peter, thank you for that 1999 drop from earlier. That's Peter Quartieri. The Carlosis with the $12. If you hate the cold at Christmas in the USA, you should take a trip over here to New Zealand. Experience Christmas at summertime at the beach. I have never been to New Zealand. I would very much one day like to make my way over there. How long of a flight is that, though, from the US? The 90s Vampire. When it comes to wrestling podcasts, you are the best there is, the best there was, and the best that there ever will be. Now that is a very smart super chat. 90s Vampire, I like your style. Graham B, hear me out. $2. Fuck. No. No dolls. No dolls. Devin from NJ, what is the greatest match to not be for a title? I mean, take your pick, right? Shawn Michaels, Undertaker, Hell in a Cell. Bret Hart, Steve Austin, WrestleMania 13. Shawn Michaels, Undertaker, WrestleMania 25. I mean, there's so many. I mean, those are three. There's so many. There's so many great matches that were not contested for a championship. Too many to name. But you can't go wrong with any of the ones I just mentioned. MLK with the $5 super chat. With Triple H wanting to do more international PLEs, do you think there is a possibility we will get a WWE PLE inside the Tokyo Dome? I don't see it. I don't see it. I don't think that that's something that's in the cards. But I would love to see how many stars Meltzer gives the matches on that show. Suffering in College with a $13 super chat. That sounds like me 20 years ago. My only hang-up with the Sammy and Owens tag team idea, the story is so good that isn't it a bit of a waste to blow it on the tag team division and not on the biggest prize in the company? The Usos are the tag team champions. The Usos have unified the tag team titles. The Usos have had a stranglehold on the tag team titles. And there is not a single other tag team that I can possibly see in this company or on the horizon in this company, even waiting in the wings in NXT, who is worthy of being the ones to take those titles from the Usos, other than Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. My hope is that under Triple H has respect for tag team wrestling, respect that Vince McMahon did not have. This could be a flashpoint here for this company. This could be a turning point for this company, where the tag teams now are hopefully going to be given better focus. Maybe it's the start of a tag team renaissance in 2023. Maybe Triple H, has big plans for the tag team division. Maybe Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens will lead the way. The payoff, honestly, is in the reunion and the win. It almost doesn't even matter what happens after that, how long they hold the titles for. Unlike the Universal and the WWE title, that's less important as far as like how long they hold the titles for. But the payoff is in the story. The payoff is in the win. The payoff is in the visual of the two of them holding those belts up, having ended the reign of the Usos. If the Usos don't lose those belts until WrestleMania, they go all the way to WrestleMania, I think it ends up being 600 something days maybe as champions. Already they're the longest reigning champs in company history. But somebody has to end their streak as well. It's not just Roman Reigns. Somebody has to put down the Usos. Who else do you propose? It'll be a big deal when the Usos finally get beat. They're as much a part of this story as Roman Reigns is. That win should mean something very big when it happens. That win should not just go to some random team. It should not go to the Street Profits. It should not go to Alpha Academy. It should not go to the Viking Raiders. It should not go to the Maximum Male Models. It should not go to Hit Row. Top Dollar, not Nada. Yeah, let's have them win the tag team titles from the Usos. Give me a fucking break. So no, I don't think it's if you tell the story right, I don't think it's beneath them. I think it works. In this instance, it works. Peter says, like the new Austin Theory. It's definitely an improvement over the old Austin Theory. Peter, thank you. Louis, what are your thoughts on calls for Ronda Rousey to be fired? Again, this is in reference, I guess, to the hashtag that's going around. Look, her match at Survivor Series was shit, okay? Her match at Survivor Series sucked, and it wasn't just her fault. She was in the match, so was Shotzi. Shotzi has not exactly had a great run on the main roster. Give me one good Shotzi Blackheart match on television since she has been called up to the main roster. She has not had a very good run of it so far. I know she's had a tough year, but you can't just put that all on Ronda Rousey. Just because you don't like Ronda Rousey, and you may have perfectly valid reasons for not liking Ronda Rousey, her run has been very lackluster so far. I'm glad they turned her heel because it's so much easier, I think, for her to be hated on TV. And so putting her and Shayna Baszler together was an improvement over what they were having her do before, you know, as the babyface with the open challenge. But, you know, the reality is, you can't just put it on her just because you don't like her. There were two people in that match. I've seen some pretty good Ronda Rousey matches in her time in WWE. I haven't been able to say the same so far for Shotzi in her main roster. TRG Swag, do you trust Triple H making the right choice with Cody? Yeah, I think that Triple H has a pretty good sense of what he has with Cody, and when Cody comes back, if he's still getting the reactions that he was getting 6 months ago, I think Triple H will see that, he'll hear that, and I think that he'll do the right thing. But man, you never know. I mean, I think what helps Cody is they really need to remind people of his performance in the Hell in a Cell. If you saw that match, that's not something you're going to forget very soon. Him coming into that match with the torn pec and the bruised up, you know, pec, his whole side of his body was all bruised up. That's a performance that's going to be remembered for years to come. But when he does come back, you need to show that and remind people of that. Because you never know. Cody comes back and at first he'll be cheered, but Sami Zayn is the one that people are really into right now. Sami Zayn is over in a way that he wasn't when Cody got hurt and Cody went out. Yeah, I don't want to see Cody end up as the Batista from 2014 to Sami Zayn being this year's Daniel Bryan. And Cody gets shit on for no reason because the people want Sami, they don't want Cody. That would be terrible if that happened. But anything is possible. You get hurt, you go away, things happen, someone takes your spot. This is what happens. Cody could come back and not be as over as he was when he left. You just don't know for sure. I think Cody will be fine, though. I think Triple H knows what he has in Cody Rhodes. Hyru says Hulk Hogan belongs in San Francisco. That's right, says Dr. D. The Carlosis, that gear that Seth had on tonight, OJ couldn't have got away with what he did. OJ couldn't have gotten away with that if he was wearing 2 gloves 3 times his size. I didn't know where you were going with that. Thunder Force 2000, best and worst WWE pay-per-view of 2022. Stay tuned. We'll talk about the year-end stuff in a few weeks. We're getting ahead of ourselves here. Thomas Rondon, I just wish Becky stopped that man crap. It irritates the hell out of me. As for Seth, this show isn't R-rated. Thank you, Solo. And IG the King, have you checked out the new Teddy Hart documentary? I have not. But I saw that they were airing the first episode of it on USA Network when Raw went off the air. How about that? If you're WWE and you find out that they're airing the Teddy Hart documentary as the lead out to Monday Night Raw, I guess they wouldn't mind because apparently WWE participated in the production of that documentary. So they must not mind that much. But yeah, I saw it was TVMA and they were airing the first episode. I think there's like 3 episodes maybe. I don't know if they're airing all of them in one night. I don't know if there's going to be a weekly thing. But I was very surprised when I saw that. But I haven't had a chance to see it yet. Brian Cyrus with the $5 super chat. When the Bloodline does lose their titles, would you like them to break up and feud with each other or just go their separate ways? Can you see a face run for the Bloodline? I could actually see a babyface run for them. What do I want them to do? It's hard for me to envision like Solo Sikoa, who is part of this group, and then the Bloodline splits, and then what? Like, they would just all go their separate ways and not associate with each other? I find that hard to believe. So I don't think they're going to all go their separate ways for a while. I think they'll probably stick together. Maybe it'll be like a gradual thing. We saw Solo Sikoa have a singles run all by himself in NXT, and he got over, and he did fine. I trust that he would be able to get over on his own just fine, but I don't know. I don't see them splitting away from each other so soon after WrestleMania. I think they'll stick together for a while. But a face run would be interesting. A face run is absolutely a possibility. Hey, Del Fuego, thank you for the $2. Oh, Del Fuego says BTB is better than BTE. All day. Fire Panda, do we know when WWE is releasing Bray's new theme? I thought they would release it on Halloween. And then they didn't, so I have no idea. Your guess is as good as mine. I've been looking for it, but they have not put it out. They have some fan edits on YouTube, but they're not really all that great. Tyler says, much love. Thank you, Tyler. Boy, they're coming in hot and heavy now. Near with the super chat. Solomonster is Solomonstering, as always. It's what I do. And Drew McIncock is with us tonight. Hi, Dad. Did you finally pick up the milk? I don't drink milk, so you get no milk. The goal tonight was $350 for Be the Booker, and we are at over 560. So apparently you were all very offended by what this like button was saying about your mother and about your wives. It's been spreading some really horrible shit. So you smack that button silly. Now it's time to do the deal. It's time to be the Booker.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is now time to be the Booker.
Bobby Lashley is the cover boy for Be the Booker tonight, and he wasn't even on Monday Night Raw. There was no Lashley on the show tonight. But you get Be the Booker. We did a special War Games edition of Be the Booker the other night. That was a different change of pace. But tonight, it's back to business. And we will begin with the men's Be the Booker. Solomonster here. Going to try to book himself a money card. Going to try to make some money here. We're going to make some money with Pete Dunne. That's not Butch. That's Pete Dunne. And the former United Kingdom champion, Pete Dunne, going to be stepping into the ring with William Regal. You know, they were teasing this match years ago in NXT. They were kind of teasing the possibility that maybe one day there would be a match between Pete Dunne and William Regal, but Regal was already retired at that point, so we never got it. But man, what a program that would have been, huh? What a feud that could have been between Pete Dunne and William Regal. That's a fucking match. That is a great way to kick off Be the Booker right there. I give that the bell all day long. On the ladies' side, we begin with Carmella, former SmackDown Women's Champion and Women's Money in the Bank winner. Carmella, one-on-one with Wendy Richter. Wendy Richter was a badass back in the day, rockin' wrestling, Cyndi Lauper, women's champion. She was a big star. I think Wendy Richter and Carmella would be a fine undercard match. Not a main event, but a fine undercard match. And let's see what magic we can whip up here on the tag team side. We have got ourselves, oh boy, it's the Bull. It's El Torito. El Torito, and look at the two condoms on either side of him. Look at this. El Torito and the Colognes. What were their names? The Cologne brothers. What were they calling them in this gimmick? I already forgot their name. I forgot their... I remember the Bull. I remember El Torito, but I cannot remember what they called the guys on either side of them. What was the name of this team? Jog my memory. My God, I can tell you who Hacksaw Jim Duggan wrestled at WrestleMania 35 years ago, but I can't tell you the name of this fucking team. Los Matadors, thank you. Look at this. Half the chat says Conquistadors. They're not the Conquistadors. They're the Matadors. Los Matadores. One of the all-time great Monday Night Raw moments involves El Torito. El Torito and Bo Dallas. If you saw it, you know exactly the moment I'm talking about. Well, I've already given it the buzzer, but what the hell? Let's finish this out and see who they are going to be stepping into the ring with. It'll be the... Oh, look at this. The Rhodes Scholars. Cody Rhodes and Damian Sandow against Los Matadores. And yeah, I got to give that the buzzer again. In case I didn't punctuate it enough the first time, I wanted to make sure you were well aware of my position on this. 2 out of 3, and even the women's match, I feel like I was being generous on that. So we've had better nights. Not our best night on Be the Booker. Pete Dunne and William Regal, though, I stand by the opinion that would have been a fantastic match. Jay Baker with the $1.99. Bray's new theme leaked here on YouTube. It's great. I'm pretty sure that's a very good quality fan edit that you are referring to. I don't believe the actual full-length song, the official version, official song has been leaked anywhere yet to my knowledge. Del Fuego, that is absolutely a Superstars match. Or yes, or Beowulf says it is a jacked. Remember WWE Jacked? It was a jacked match. Oh boy. Now look, there was a lot of content over the last several days. We had our full Survivor Series War Games review on Saturday night. That is up on the channel if you missed it. Episode 784, 2 hours of the podcast on Sunday. Went over a lot of stuff, not just about War Games and Sami Zayn and where things go from here, but Randy Orton's career potentially being in jeopardy. The AEW stuff with the Elite trolling CM Punk. We had news on Cain Velasquez and Colt Cabana and just a bunch of other things. And you can listen to that, stream it, download it right now on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all major podcast platforms. Wednesday night is going to be our final stream for the month of November. That'll be the AEW Dynamite stream. So I hope that you guys will swing on back and join me for that. And then, of course, we have SmackDown, the post-War Games edition of SmackDown on Friday night. We'll see if Roman Reigns decides to show up for work. I assume there will be some sort of segment or ceremony involving the entire bloodline and Sami Zayn, making him an official member, not just an honorary Uso, but an official Uso. Watch them turn on Sami. I still feel, in the back of my mind, I'm like, I don't know. Maybe they're gonna lower the boom on us on SmackDown, right? Everyone thinks everything's all kumbaya right now with the bloodline, and then on Friday night it's like they put their arm around Sami, and then they put the bullet right in the back of his head. You know, Sami walks into the room, he sees plastic all over the floor, and he's like, "Wait a minute, what's going on here?" And then boom, doesn't even hear the shot. Down goes Sami Zayn. I hope not. I'm not ready for that yet. I'm not ready for that to happen yet. Be well. Stay safe. Thank you for all the Super Chat love tonight. Of course, we have channel memberships are open as well. I know some people renewed tonight. Thank you to you as well. I will see you back here live on Wednesday night. Come right back here as soon as AEW Dynamite is over. And I'll be here for the review as always. So until then, have yourselves a good night. Take care, guys.